So, how we doing, Coach? Yeah, rough. Yeah, great. Not to put too fine a point on it, but that was kind of a shit show.
Hey, come on, I did my best out there.
No. We don't make excuses here, alright? We just take accountability. And you know and I know that your prep was off, your mind wasn't in it. We can't afford any more slip-ups, Coach. You know what is at stake. You know the kind of people that have come into this city. Now I can't go around getting even more allies, especially not out of that lot. They are enemies until they are proven otherwise. And we need to treat them as such. Now, everything's went against Ellie. You gotta be on your game next time. As I understand it, you're going up against Mountaih. You ready for this? Yeah, I'm ready. Are you sure? Because you know and I know that he is one of the best in the business. And he is one of the most dangerous criminals to have come to this city in a long time. And we can't afford for any more mistakes. Alright? No more getting the team wrong. No more playing like ass.
Hey, come on!
Look, I know. I know being in that situation is different, but there's a lot more riding on this than you know, okay? I got the mayor on my ass and he's threatening to come back. Yeah, the mayor, alright? What, you're not one of those other people who thought he wasn't real, are you? Look, I got him bearing down on me. I gotta give regular reports to the man. And I only want to get good news because we do not want him making an appearance in the city, okay? That's gonna go badly for everybody. So, I'm gonna ask you one more time. Are you ready for this? Yeah, I'm ready. Good. Get the hell out of my sight. Poor guy. You don't know what's coming.
Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and welcome to Pokémon Premier League Week 4. Yes indeed. Now, last time we did take an unfortunate loss to Ellie and the Shanghai Dragons, and it doesn't get easier. Detective Striker had some choice words for us in advance of our match against Mountaih and the Immunity Idols. His links down in the description below, make sure you check them out. He is one of the best to do it. I mean, finalist last season, semi-finalist the season before, numerous championships even at the start of his Draft League career. He is making moves in Draft League City, and we need to try and put a stop to that. Not going to be an easy one. His team as of this week is Terrapagos, Weavile, Clefable, Infinite, Flygon, Sceptile, Quillfish, Indeedee, Vikavolt, Driftblim, and Electric. He has some pretty premier terrors on his team. The Indeedee can go Psychic Fairy Ghost, the Vikavolt, Electric, Steel, and Water, I believe, and that's the Vikavolt. The Electric is Fairy, Steel, Poison, and Water. So, numerous threats on there. He has the ever-dangerous Sceptile Shedtail into Terrapagos, which will involve breaking that Terra Shell twice, which is not something that we are particularly going to enjoy going up against. But the team we have put together for this, we have Greninja back again. We are Battle Bond once again this time after Protein didn't work last time. Heavy Duty Boots on there. He does have the webs. We don't have any kind of removal. Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Sludge Wave, and Water Shuriken. We have the speed to outrun Infinite, I think it is. Yeah, that looks about right. Water offense isn't great into him, but I want to have Shuriken on there in case I need to out-prioritize Infinite with the Mach Punch or Vacuum Wave, something like that. The rest of it is just a case of making sure that Terrapagos's Terra Shell is broken, the Clefable is weakened down, and ideally the Weavile is sort of dealt with. If we can get a Battle Bond boost, we could be looking in a good position. To help us get there, we have Ogerpon Cornerstone with max attack 240 speed Jolly. It's a very standard looking set, Ivy Cudgel, Trailblaze, Knockoff and Swords Dance. We want to be able to outpace anything non-scarfed, including that Weavile. And once again, you know, it's very standard fare for Ogerpon, just hit things very hard. We have Knockoff on there because I want to get rid of any scarfs that might be going on. He has a lot of Premier potential scarfers that Greninja doesn't want to particularly deal with before Battle Bond goes off, so that's going to be important for Ogerpon to try and break. Now, the Terrapagos is a huge issue, so we have a very specially defensive Mew here with a Roap Berry. 120 HP, max special defense, 136 speed, timid. We have Haze, Aura Sphere, Toxic and Psychic Noise. This guy is meant to try and deal with both Terrapagos and Clefable if possible. If the Clefable is here, then I'm anticipating it to be Unaware, potentially even Ability Shield Unaware to get around my Mold Breaker Haxorus. Haze on there to get rid of any stats he might want to set up with those two Mons. Aura Sphere, just to hit the Terrapagos, the Weavile and stuff super effectively. Psychic Noise is good stab. His Dark type is the Weavile, for which we have the Aura Sphere, also good for his Terra Steels. Toxic, also useful for the Clefable and the Terrapagos. The Roap Berry, looking to proc that on a Terra Starstorm to get the damage and break that shell without having to attack him. Now, next up is going to be one of our premier threats. Heavy Duty Boots Haxorus is here. We are going 208 attack, 60 defense, 240 speed, Jolly. We have Taunt, Close Combat, Poison Jab, and Dragon Dance. This is going to be my dedicated lead if I see the Vikavolt. I'm expecting Vikavolt, and I'm expecting Terra Steel. People have run Terra Steel into me already this season to deal with an Ogerpon. But I'm leading Haxorus. I'm going to Taunt that Vikavolt to stop it from setting up sticky webs. If he is Terra Steel, then Close Combat will get through. Those two attacks, making sure I can deal with Terrapagos with Mold Breaker through its Terra Shell, and indeed the Poison Jab to hopefully set up a Swords Dance and get around that Unaware Clefable if possible. Next up, we have something of the surprise factor here. We are debuting Toxicroak, and it is Choice Scarfed. We have Close Combat, Dunk Shot, Earthquake, and Knockoff. We are just max on there, attack and speed Jolly. Looking to speed tie, I believe, with the Indeedee. This is something of a late game thing. If I can get around that Terra Steel Vikavolt that I'm expecting, and maybe get damage on a Flygon, which I'm kind of not expecting. Same thing with the Quillfish, again, not anticipating that to come. Gunk Shot goes really hard into him. Close Combat can deal with those Steel type threats. Earthquake, good for the likes of Infinite, and so I'm not walled by that Quillfish if it comes. And again, Knockoff, very useful for getting rid of choice items and stuff here and there. Final member of the team, a late addition, is going to be Citrus Berry Rotom Fan. This is Terra Steel with Volt Switch, Air Slash, Terra Blast, and Pain Split. Like I say, I'm not anticipating the Flygon, but this should deal with it very well. Even if it is running like special fire coverage, and I'm Terra'd, I will be able to take one, I would hope, with my max or near max special defense investment and max special attack with a modest nature. Pain Split up to get health back on something like a Clefable, which Terra Steel is there to hit. Terrapagos maybe, break that Terra Shell if I need to. And it's useful to have this to try and counteract a Drifblim if he wants to bring that. Drifblim this generation has become very difficult to take down with Strength Sap, Calm Mind, Unburden shenanigans. So yeah, that is the kind of team we're going in with. Let's get over to the battle screen and see what Mountaih has decided to bring along to counteract us. So, as you can see, Mountaih has decided to bring Infinite, Clefable, Weavile, Flygon, Vikavolt, and Terrapagos. Wasn't quite expecting the Flygon to come. I didn't think it had a great matchup into me, which would imply there are shenanigans afoot. But either way, the Vikavolt is there. I didn't run into webs during any of my mocks, but I am going to lead with my Haxorus to try and stop those webs going up if that's what he wants to do straight out the gate. So, here we go with the week 4 battle against Mountaih and the immunity idols. He is going to lead with that Vikavolt, which is the exactly anticipated lead we were thinking. I'm going to go, as I say, with Haxorus, and I'm just going to click Taunt straight out the gate to make sure those webs don't have a chance of going up. So he is going to get out of there straight off, not wanting to take a taunt or indeed maybe a banded hit. He's going to go hard into his Clefable as we go for a taunt. Now this is nice on Clefable, don't want it doing any nasty shenanigans. Now here I'm going to make a big early game risky prediction. My switch into Mew is fairly obvious to deal with the Clefable, and I figured he might want to take this opportunity to double back into Vikavolt to get those webs up on my Mew. So what I'm going to do predicting that is go for Poison Jab to try and catch it coming back in, then read the Terra Steel and hit close combat. I'm thinking about going into Mew, as you can see. It's a risky play, but this is Mountaih and he is a very dangerous competitor, so I want to try and get in his head early on by making this play and hoping that he's going to play ball with it to try and get his webs up. And he does not play ball. We go for Poison Jab, it does a clean like 50%, but he is going to go for Moonblast, and he has some investment, and that is going to turn to take out Haxorus. This is not great for us. I made a very early ballsy read, and it has not worked out in the slightest. But that did do a fair amount of damage, so I'm going to go into Ogerpon right about now, and I'm going to click Ivy Cudgel. If he has Focus Blast, I want to maintain my Sturdy. I usually like to keep Sturdy until I take any damage. I was considering going for Trailblaze, but in the end, Ivy Cudgel is going to be the play. He doesn't have anything that amazingly switches into an Ivy Cudgel, so it's a fairly free move, unless he wants to go into Flygon, which I can then try and do other nasty things to. Now he is going to stay in here. We're going to go for Ivy Cudgel, and that's going to take him down so very far. He is going to go for a Moonblast here, doing just under half of the taunt wears off. Now I know, if I'd have Terra'd, we would have taken him out. Why didn't I? Now, firstly, I wanted to make sure he wasn't going to try and like destroy me with some kind of Oko move when I didn't have Sturdy, but also, he has the Flygon in the back, and I want to maintain Terra Steel on Rotom to deal with that later on down the line. That's why I didn't do it. I promise there was a good reason. Either way, I'm pretty easy to just go for Trailblaze here and get myself to +1 speed, which will be lovely for dealing with whatever he wants to bring in afterwards. And then he reveals the tech. Mountaih has a Custap Berry, and he goes for Healing Wish. Now, on the one hand, we now don't have to deal with the Clefable, which is good. On the other hand, he now has a Healing Wish in the air, and I go for Trailblaze and don't get anything out of it. Now, all of his mons are at full health, so that Healing Wish is going to stay up in the air until he brings in something that isn't. Now, he is going to start trying to do nasty things with his Terrapagos very early game. He likes to save this for the end game normally, but now that he's got a Healing Wish up, he can be a little bit more proactive with it. I'm going to now make the option to go into my Mew and try and deal with this Terrapagos before it can do anything too nasty to me. So, going to call Jimmy the Face on back out of there. I'm going to go into Mew. Now that the Clefable is down, I can really focus Mew's efforts on dealing with this Terrapagos. He goes for the Rapid Spin, just to make sure he can get his speed on up. Now, he will have to attack me specially at some point, so the Roat Berry is going to be good for that. So I can start trying to go for Toxic or Aura Sphere and wear him down, breaking that Terra Shell. He's going to go for Terra Starstorm. That is going to do a good amount to my Mew. It's looking like it still might not be a two-shot from there. And I'm going to get the Roat Berry, break that Terra Shell, and just to add insult to injury, I'm now going to go for Toxic. So he is once again on a timer with the Toxic. That is great. We want to make sure that we wear this Terrapagos down. But now, looking at my set, he's going to know that I'm not particularly offensive, and I want to stop him from going for Calm Mind. So my play here is to go for Haze, and then outspeed him next turn, and try and get damage with Aura Sphere. Now, Mountaih is just locking in on Terra Starstorm, trying to deal with my Mew as quick as possible. We do live, and I am going to go for a Haze here. This was better than going for an Aura Sphere, because he would have just killed me next turn anyway. I just wanted to make sure he couldn't set up Calm Minds, and then outspeed him the subsequent turn. So, Haze is good. We're going to go for an Aura Sphere. He's going to be able to Rapid Spin to kill me, but I have things that will then outspeed him even at +1 in the back. So here comes the Aura Sphere. That is going to do a nice little chunk, which is cool. He's going to be able to get the kill with Rapid Spin, and Mew is going to go down. Now, that's unfortunate, but his speed, despite being up, is not going to make him outspeed my Greninja, and with that toxic damage, he is looking mighty close to being in range of Dark Pulse. So, if Mountaih is going to try and do things with his S tier early game, so am I. I go into Greninja here, and looking at the rest of his team, there is a chance that we can do a lot of damage to him, so I'm going to lock in on Dark Pulse and try and get rid of this Terapagos as quickly as I can. Now, Mountaih is going to get out of there with Terapagos, and I was thinking, oh, he's saving it to sack later on, because I'd forgotten about a certain something, but I'm sure you at home have not. He brings in Weavile. Dark Pulse is going to do a nice little chunk to this guy. But realistically speaking, I don't have too much that I want to switch into Weavile right about now. If he predicts a switch out and goes for knockoff, there's no item in particular that I really want to lose, and he will then just kill my Ogerpon that can't lose its item anyway. So I am actually going to be aggressive and stay in here and start clicking Sludge Wave to get damage onto this Weavile. Now this was a risk. He could have gone for a fighting move. As it is, he goes for knockoff, gets rid of my heavy duty boots, but that isn't too much of an issue because I am just going to start clicking Sludge Wave and try and get big damage. Now he could try and switch things up. At this point he does, I believe, outspeed me, but I am sticking to the plan. I am just going to stay in and keep clicking Sludge Wave and hope that I can out-damage this Weavile. It's looking like I might be able to, and the way he's playing it, it looks like he might be Scarfed Weavile to outdo my Greninja after a Battle Bond boost. But either way, that's my play. I want to save those last 3 Mons for once this Weavile has gone down. I'm going to stay in and click Sludge Wave and see if we can't get rid of Weavile. And that's what's going to happen. He's locked in on knockoff. It's not doing anything to me. I'm just going to go for the Sludge Wave here, and that's going to take out Weavile. So another big threat to my team is gone, and Greninja is going to get its Battle Bond. Now at this point, I was very excited, because he's got the Vikavolt left, the Flygon, the Infinite. I can do big damage to all of them, except maybe a bulky Vikavolt, and the Terapagos at very low health and poison. So I was thinking, Greninja's looking in a really good spot to do some big damage here. Here, as you'll see, he's going to go into the Magikarp, and I was like, brilliant, I'm just going to kill it, because I'd forgotten about this. He is going to get that Healing Wish back. That is why he was able to play it so aggressively early game. And now he has a second chance at doing things with the Terapagos. Very unfortunate. I'm just going to click Dark Pulse here. It is my best move, and I need to break this thing's Terra Shell again, because my Mew is gone and my Haxorus is gone, and I now need to find another way of dealing with this guy. So, in comes the Dark Pulse from Greninja. The Terra Shell is going to distort it, make it not very effective. It's still going to do a nice little chunk, and we get a flinch. That's pretty big, actually. I wasn't fishing for that, honestly. It was just my best move to go for. But it gives me one more big hit, and maybe another flinch off a subsequent Dark Pulse, and we'd be in a really good position. So, Dark Pulse going to come in. That's going to do significantly more than last time. We're not going to get the flinch this time, which is fair. He's going to go for Aura Sphere, and he's going to take out Greninja. Unfortunately, no Battle Bond endgame sweep today, but now we can go into pretty much anything and probably take out the Terapagos from here. He's not going to get another chance at Terra Shell. So I could go to my Scarfer, which wouldn't reveal Scarf because I'm naturally quite quick, or I could go into Ogerpon. Either one should seal the deal. Now I'm going to choose to go into Ogerpon here. The Ivy Cudgel should be taking him out even without me terroring. And the reason I go into this guy and not my my Toxicroak is thinking ahead. He's probably, whichever one of these I go into, once this Terapagos is done, he's probably going to go into the Vikavolt. And I want Ogerpon on the field for that, so that he is forced with Vikavolt to attack me rather than going for Sticky Web. Mountaih has shown that he will attack a threat in front of him with his Sticky Web user instead of going for the webs in order to take it out. So Ogerpon is going to pick up the KO on the Terapagos, and now I'm very much predicting him to go into that Vikavolt and immediately Terra Steel for the KO. So in comes the Vikavolt. Like I said, I'm anticipating him to just try and take me out here. I'm going to go for a knockoff. It's my best move to hit this guy, and I can get rid of a potential Sash if needs be for my lower tier picks to try and see us home. So knockoff's going to be the play. Like I say, I'm not anticipating him to Sticky Web here. I'm anticipating him to just take me out. So, Mountaih is indeed going to pull the trigger on his Terra on the Vikavolt, and as you'll see, it is indeed that Terra Steel that we did see coming. It was the obvious play for him with Ogerpon Cornerstone on my side. Now I will outspeed him, and I will be able to get a knockoff onto him, and as you'll see, that does good damage, and we get rid of a Mental Herb. So he was prepared for Taunt early game, but clearly feared the Haxorus. Flash Cannon's going to come in, that will certainly take out Ogerpon, but if I'd have gone into one of my other 2 mons to try and deal with this guy, he would probably then have gone for the webs to prevent Ogerpon from doing nasty things. As it is, with him Terra Steeled, I am now forced to go into Fingers LaRue. Toxicroak hits the field for the first time this season. So, we're going to go for the close combat, and that is going to take out Terra Steel Vikavolt. So, a first KO of the season for Toxicroak. Now, this won't have revealed that I'm Scarfed. He has Inflate left, and he has the Flygon left. Now, even though I am not Dry Skin, that Inflate will be taking me out since I'm at -1. I don't think he'll be anticipating me to be Scarfed. In mocks, many people didn't, and I was able to put in a lot of work. In comes the Infinite hitting the field. I need to reset those stat drops on Toxicroak if I want to try and do some work against his last 2. So I'm going to be switching out of here into my Rotom to try and at least take 2 hits from this guy, or maybe get some big recall from Flare Blitz. So, getting out of there with the Toxicroak, going into my last remaining mon. It is Wheels Malone, it is the Rotom Fan, and he's going to go for Flamethrower, a special Infinite. This works out quite nicely for me, because I'm specially defensive. He does over half, he's Life Orbed, but we have a Citrus Berry. Now, with that, we're going to be able to take a subsequent Flamethrower and KO him with Air Slash. So, Flamethrower going to come in again on Rotom. That's going to do enough to leave us in a very precarious position. But Rotom is going to land that Air Slash, and with our max investment Modest, we are going to take out the Infinite from there. Leaving Rotom at low health, but now it is Flygon versus the world. And unfortunately, Rotom is now at too low of health to be able to do the job I was hoping it would and take on this Flygon. Now, I am going to click Pain Split just in case he gets greedy, and hope that we can do some damage to him and leave him in range of Toxicroak. And so, for the first time this season, at the end of the game in Week 4, finally, we are going to terrestrialize one of our mons. Yes, indeed, it's Rotom! He is the Terra Steel, hoping to take any given hit from this Flygon, even at low health, and he goes for Flamethrower and kills us. Bit unfortunate. So that didn't last long. But now it is 1v1, and I'm actually really hoping that he's Choice Scarfed. If he's Choice Scarfed, because we don't have Dry Skin, we will actually win this game. He'll outspeed and do like 30-something-ish%. We'll be able to go for close combat, take him down quite low, and then even at -1, we have a decent chance to live another Flamethrower. So that is really my hope, that he is Scarfed. I certainly don't think he'll be expecting us to be Scarfed, and if he's not, we kind of just have to hope that we have enough in us with a close combat to take out Flygon. So this one is coming right down to the wire. Toxicroak is going to hit the field. My only hope here is to lock in on close combat and hope that we can do enough to him. So here we go. We're Scarfed, he's not. We come so very close. We get the defense drops, and it turns out he is not Choice Scarfed. Or Choice Specs, I should say. He's going to go for Earth Power, and unfortunately, my switch came out of its docking there a little bit at the end, but we don't lose any real footage, and that is going to be the game. So yeah, bit of an unfortunate ending. It was rough. Yeah, a very, very sad ending to that game. It was very, very close. I'm actually very proud of how I built and how I battled in that one. Minus the incredibly silly risk at the start, which I had good theories on why I did it with the Haxorus. It didn't work out for us in the end. I just really wanted to get a good footing early game, and the risk didn't pay off. But I think we played ourselves back into the game incredibly well from such an early loss. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that Flygon. But Mountaih put together a really, really good build. Like, I had Terra Steel Rotom, and I had Orthworm that I thought they will do really nicely against the Flygon. Turns out he was running fully specially offensive Assault Vest to get around Rotom and to get around the Orthworm. So excellent prep on Mountaih's part. Obviously, if I'd have Ice Punch on my Toxicroak, that would have been a different story, would have won that game. However, I stand by that decision. Ice offense into his team was not great. I was running it on Greninja because I had nothing else I needed to run with the coverage was already rocking. And Ice really didn't go very hard into his team at all, especially unstabbed and at a relatively low base power. So I stand by having knockoff. I thought it would have been more useful in the long run. You know, it's just one of those things that happens. I'm still quite proud of how we played that one. We lose 1-0 against one of the best. Honestly, nothing really much more to be said on that. So, unfortunately, we are now 2-2 at a +1 differential. It's still a fairly healthy position to be in, especially, as I say, against one of the best. Mountaih, again, his links down in the description below along with everyone else. Make sure you check everybody out, especially Mountaih, who we just battled. He is a great guy. He makes very good content. And he's a very, very talented player. And he looked great in a suit. So make sure you do go over and check out Mountaih. We do definitely need to start back onto winning ways. Next week we are taking on Mephisto, the Don himself, and the Nice Jinx. But that is going to be a story for next week. Stick around for that. Hope you've been enjoying the content and keep doing so. But I'm going to get out of here. I've rambled on for long enough. So my final thank you to you all for watching. And I guess with that, I will see you next time. Laters.